There was a second part to Satsanga's question, which was, I was wondering if you can please explain about how thoughts and actions and appearances are connected to each other. There is one cause, and if you can see it as one cause, this one cause is consciousness itself. If you can see it like this, then very simple. But if you start then trying to delve into karma and this action reaction, phenomenal movement, all of this, then all the complication can start. If you can see that it is in the presence of your being that this entire play goes on. And when being is not here, there is nothing phenomenal to report on. There is just the simple awareness of this nothingness. So then in the presence of consciousness, if this play is going on like this, there's a beautiful line in the Yoga Vashisht. It says that the crow comes and sits on a branch of a coconut tree and a coconut falls down. It's very beautiful, it's very subtle. So the mind will make this pattern, will make this correlation that because crow went and sat on the coconut branch, that's why this coconut fell down. But it just happened, you see. The crow coming, the crow sitting there, the coconut falling, all is in service to your being. All is an appearance for your being. And if you let the mind in, it will say this equals this, therefore this, and tries to create patterns where none exist. Anything is possible in the next moment. In the next instant, this body could drop. It's completely possible. So it can seem like, I thought this, therefore I did this. But you will not be able to tell me the link between the thought and the action. The link is always only imagined. This I who thought this and this I who did this is only imagined. That's why my master says, you are not the thinker of thought, nor the doer of action. Thought is coming, thought is going, action is coming, action is going. It's all one big seeming. Otherwise it can seem like, oh, I must do something, what should I do, what can I not do? And if this is strong, then even for this we've given you a simple pointing. Isn't it? Even for this, what should I do? We've given you a very simple pointing, which is just don't believe your next thought. I know I keep belaboring this point. The point is that we just have now these 2 days before the break for 5 weeks. And it can be that something is still resisting the simplest of pointings. Simplest of pointings which can show you that you're free from suffering in this moment. So sometimes the mind can come and say, yes, not believing my next thought works for most situations. The mind can create this sort of resistance. Yes, it works mostly. But with my body pain thing, it doesn't work. It's not true like this. It's not true. You cannot suffer without believing a thought. It can be anything. You can say, yes, not believing my next thought works for everything except my relationship. In the relationship, I better show up as a person and start believing my thoughts. Anything where there's some attachment, where there's some, in the appearance we've created some unnatural attachment, then we can play like this. The resistance can come. So for you it might be pain, for someone else it might be relationship, for somebody else it might be work. See, many times we get this question also that But at work, I have to believe my thoughts. It's not true. It's not true. So this cause and effect is just a fallacy. And I can give it to you in Latin if you like. You heard me say it before, isn't it? It's post hoc ergo propter hoc, which means that just because something followed another thing doesn't mean that the prior thing is the cause of it. Because we make a thread, we make this imagination seem real. The imagination is the person. And if this person seems real, then all this is happening to the person. Oh, the person had this thought, the person did this action. Actually, most of humanity is also believing that they are creating their thoughts. I must think positive. We are in this belief that we are creating our thoughts also, most of us. We try think positive, and sometimes the mind goes along for a while just to play with you. So I can do it, yes. Then in 2 minutes something will come up. And you can see this in when there are silent retreats or some beautiful settings like this, you see. And then everybody initially very quiet, very beautiful. And somebody steps out and they shout by mistake. Huh? And everybody's mind starts attacking them immediately, saying, why can't they be quiet? They can't follow an instruction. How long does this think positive last? It doesn't last. It's just a game. So most of humanity is believing that they are the creators, as personal creators of thoughts. How do you create your thought? What raw material do you use? How do you pull up the words? How do you put them together? Can anyone answer this? So you take the alphabets from somewhere and you say, this is what I'm going to think. Is it like this? You'll see it's not like this. It is just coming. So now most of you who are in satsang can see, yes, a thought is just appearing. But sometimes what is sticky is this belief that the action is as a result of my thought. But so many actions are happening right now. Your entire body is moving internally. So many processes are happening. Your heart is beating. Your eyes are blinking. Who is doing all of this? It is the same consciousness which is beating your heart. It is also the cause of all action. And then when you remove this concept of doership, you remove these concepts of cause and effect, then every moment is so beautifully fresh. Otherwise, we are constantly just worried about past, living our life in the past, or worried about the future. What about now? What about now? Why are we so attracted to speaking about past or future? Why not now? So allow the presence of satsang to dip your attention in the now. And today what might be happening is that, oh, I said everyone should come up for some time. So most of the time you're just thinking about what you're going to say when you come up. It's not like this. Let that also just flow. You see? Just let it just flow, whatever. There is only one cause and one effect, which is consciousness itself. And even if it is applicable, the law of karma, even if it was applicable that your thoughts create action, and then your action creates reaction, which then creates thought, which then creates new action, even if all of this was there, the law of karma like this it operates, even if it was there, does it really work on you? Is it really operating on you? Or is it only operating on this conceptual entity called the person? Imagined entity called the person. So I'm not saying that karma is not there. I'm only saying that it's not for you. It's just for this play, for this dream character. And as long as you want a particular outcome for this dream character, then it'll only get sticky and sticky. That's why it's good to clarify. Even very openly, you can say in satsang, this is what I want. I want freedom, but freedom must have these conditions along with it. Then at least we are clear. Okay, this will convince you of your freedom.